Hey book bloggers, I'm KM Robinson of KM Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms, and this is your book cover style guide quick look for Emerge. Emerge is a fantastic mermaid story that takes place generations after the original Little Mermaid tale. When the Little Mermaid threw the dagger into the ocean after refusing to kill the prince, she actually enacted a curse against the mer that took away their immortality and gave them the lifespan of humans. Now a group of mer have decided to live on land among the humans to avoid the wars going on under the sea. The story picks up with a mermaid named Leah who is struggling to navigate the human world and avoid having a crush on a human boy. It's a great book. I loved it. It's a fantastic extension/retelling of the original Little Mermaid story, and I highly recommend it. And the thing I like most about the story is that it really gives us a lot of really cool elements that we can pull into our book imagery to style this book. If you are basing your imagery off of the cover of the book, we have some really cool elements that we can work with. We know the story is very beach-oriented, very ocean-oriented, so you can pull in any beach elements into your imagery, so seashells and starfish and coral and things like that. You can use sand if you happen to be going to the beach to put it right on the sand near the water. It would be awesome. You can also pull in the colors from the cover. And the cover really focuses on blue colors, so if you have dark blues or even lighter blues, you can really pull it in, tie it together, and really make it pop. If you are basing your imagery off of the content of the story, you have some really cool elements that you can pull in. The first thing that I would recommend is pulling in gold, because we know that Leah's tail is actually a gold color, so gold sequin fabric would look really cool. You can also use the colors of her sister's tails. Both blues and greens work really well, and her cousin's tail is purple, so anything sparkly like that would work really well. We also know that her best friend Caspian's tail is silver, so anything like that could really bring him into the story as well. If you want to do images based off of some of the characters, you can pull in elements that represent each of them. So for Leah, I might use golden shoes because we know within the story she purchases a pair of golden heels that come into play several times throughout the story and really represent what she's struggling with and what she's learning throughout the story. You can use elements like Caspian's thirst for knowledge as he's studying those ancient mer symbols. So I would pull in a book and a pen. Anything studious would work really well for Caspian. To represent Clay, you might want to pull in guitar or his earbuds because we know that Clay is very much involved in his music, and that's a big thing when we see Clay. He's often listening to music or playing music for Leah. We also know that Caspian's grandmother has a chest full of medicinal items that she uses throughout the story that's very important to the storyline, so having some kind of treasury chest type thing or little bottles would go really well for representing that part of the story. Another element that's really cool to pull into this is pearls, because we know that when the mermaids cry, their teardrops actually fall as pearls. So a pearl necklace, pearl bracelet, or just random pearls around would look really cool with this book cover. We know that during the story, Leah's class takes a trip on a boat out to the ocean to examine marine life. And this is actually a very pivotal scene for the book, so I highly recommend highlighting this within your imagery. You can use things like starfish and seashells or anything that they might explore during this trip. We know that Leah actually at some point gets an octopus stuck on her arm. Most of you won't have an octopus, but you can pull in those other elements that you might be able to find at the beach to this image to represent that scene. The mer that live on land know that it can be dangerous to go into the ocean, so they avoid the water during the daytime, but at night they can swim freely. The community has placed a glowing barrier in the ocean to let the people know where it's safe to go, and so adding in that blue glowing coral would be a really cool element to add to your imagery. We know that in the original Little Mermaid story, the dagger is a huge element, but it's also a very big element within Emerge. And so adding a dagger into your imagery is a nod both to the original story and to this story and how they work together. We know that Leah and Clay end up doing a project together for school where they are researching their ancestry, and so they spend a lot of time together researching on the computer, and so a computer or a keyboard or any desk-like elements where they would be working together is a great nod to those scenes within the book. Whether you are basing your imagery off of the content of the story or content of the cover, make sure that you make the book the focus of your image. You don't want to distract or take away from the book. Don't cover up the author's name or the title of the book so that your fans can find it. This week alone, I've had a handful of people contact me saying that they purchased this book specifically because they really liked how it looked in one of my Instagram pictures. And you too have that power to entice your fans to look into the books that you love based solely on your imagery, which is why you need to take all this time and effort to bring in elements from both the cover and the story to show why they would want to look into it. I'm KM Robinson of KM Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms. Stay inspired.